Mark, thanks for sitting down with me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shawn.
Mark, Peckus was founded in 1852. It's been around for a long time. You've been at the helm as CEO for 20 years now? 20 years?
That's it. So,
in that time, what's been the most exciting development for this company?
Well, I believe what we developed was we're coming from East Germany, and of course now develop it to a modern Western company. That's been a big challenge. And if we look at the content, our new value-added system, which stretches along many things. To start with, we're coming from a seed company, seed technology company. We now do all the grain handling, and now we've also bought additional companies in the grain processing. So we go from seed preparation right down to the grain processing. And also we do a value-added chain coming from wheat seed to or grain seed to any kind of oil seed, corn, soya, etc., right down to the fine seed. So we cover all the seed which there is on the market. Plus, we have what we call the Peckus ties, a value-added stream where we start with technology, which means developing the machines, manufacturing the machines, made in Germany, all of them, and developing all the solutions. Let's say for corn, the total value-added chain for a corn seed plant, including the corn dryer, etc., calibration, chemical coating, etc. And those, then we have the innovation, T for technology, I for innovation, which is our sister company called Röber Institute, which is a synonym of Peckus. Röber was the former owner. So it's innovation. And then we have the engineering company, Peckus Engineering, which gives to the customer the service of total turnkey. Now, turnkey means not only putting up the plant on a piece of greenfield, but it means including the civil planning, civil works, premises allowance, etc., etc. Like we did recently in Serbia, a full turnkey plant, including civil property management, etc., for KWS. And then, of course, the service. Last, Peckus ties, the S stands for service, where we have 17 Peckus companies in all over the world, where we always try to be close to our customers to deliver those engineering services or innovative products always close to the customer and be close to him if he has some problems. So that's what we call the full value-added process, which we have developed in the last 20 years.
That's a huge scope.
That's a huge scope, you say it, and most important, of course, and which should also answer your question, is of course the development of staff. When we started, we were a producer. When I bought the company in 1994, we were a producer of a large volume of a small scope of machinery. And so was the skill of the staff. Now, if we do several seed sorts, if we go into grain handling, if we go into grain processing, in all of the areas in the world, mind you, we have 95% export, only 5% domestic business. So we need a totally different set of staff, of skills, and so on. And we needed to develop what we call centers of competencies, and they are not all in Germany. So we have, for instance, in the sunflower, our center of competence is in Serbia. If we have tropical corn and soya, it's with our daughter company in Brazil, Peckus Brazil, and so on. So if it's pulses, it's Australia. And so it's the centers of competences which then are amalgamated or coordinated by what we call the Peckus Academy, which is centralized in Germany, where we try to coordinate all the know-how to make it a good schooling base for our staff.
Speaking of staff, I understand that your engineers have developed the first green dryer system. No fossil fuels being used. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that follows our general strategy where we say if we have 5 general product lines, so the sorting, the drying, the coating, the conveying, the storage, in each of those lines we look at an innovative point. And first, of course, the first checklist we have is where we say which innovation would follow our mission, strong seed, healthy grain. But if we look at drying, there's another aspect, of course, which is the energy consumption, which is always an issue. So a client pays X for the purchase price, but he pays way more than X for running the machine over the years, and that's been, of course, the fuel for the drying. And of course, then we look at ways how we can use the process material which the customer has to take this and convert it and to make warm air at the end of the day. And that could be, in this case of that article, it was about hot water. There was a lot of hot water in the process of this client, of this particular client, which we could use to create hot air. It could be corn cobs, where we have now developed in our Hungarian daughter company, we have developed a corn cob burning technology, which we then of course use to fuel the corn cob drying houses for the seed corn.
Right.
And those are the aspects when we develop a project or product in the Röber Innovation Center. We always look at the mission first. Does this innovation fulfill any kind in our strong seed or healthy grain, or is it a lasting, which would be a lasting benefit like energy consumption? This is always the prior thing on our checklist.
So you've also just recently launched the next generation of gravity tables.
Yes.
Some big changes in this next evolution. Can you tell us a little bit about how this is going to impact the business?
Yeah, truly, gravity is a very complicated machine for the user, and there's a lot of discussion, can we go without a gravity? For instance, if we go for optical sorting or so on. We personally believe that we need gravity because it selects by gravity, which an optical sorter does obviously not do. So let's say we need a gravity, then the question was how good or how bad, how effective are those gravity? And when we looked at our own gravity first and then at other gravities, we found that the management of airstream is done very accidental or badly or not planned at all.
Right.
And so again, in our Röber Institute, we took some really advanced aeronautic engineers, airstream engineers, which came from the car industry, and which then did some analysis with very innovative simulation methods to first make sure that if we, to make it very pragmatic, suck in air through a round tube, to make sure that on a rectangular space of a gravity we get the same speed of air, pressure of air at every square centimeter. So that is probably one of the most innovative things, that we have developed a certain kind of air mechanism, air control, to develop the right air speed, right air control. Then besides that, we have a totally new dynamic force compensation system. What does that mean? It means that if you have a gravity table which delivers a lot of dynamic forces and gives a problem for the user, if this gravity is on the first, second, whatever floor, it gives a lot of shakings into the building. And so we have developed a counterbalancing system which swallows those dynamic forces nearly to zero. So the times of using a strong cement foundation is over. It's just over. So we don't need any strong foundation other than the mass of the machine, to carry the mass of the machine. So that's strikingly new. And but let's say technologically wise, I think the airstream management which we have developed is really something, and that will definitely revive the necessity of the gravity.
And what kind of an impact does these changes have on the efficiency? How close are we getting to 100% separation?
Well, that in percentage is now hard to say if we're looking at corn and wheat and so on and so forth, but that's hard. But compared to the machines we see in the market, we've added a huge efficiency curve there.
Right, perfect.
I think we revived the interest in the gravity. When we started talking about new gravities, people say, we don't even know if it's the right machine, so many things needed to be set up, etc. It's so difficult, etc., etc. So of course we needed to develop some electronics as well, to recipe memory, etc., with our new machine has, so to make life easier for the user. Or I should add another point. What do we do with the middlings on a gravity? So we have we have developed a special on-deck technology, which automates how you get rid of those middlings. Well, there's a little bit of a trick which I will not display here, but it's an interesting feature anyway.
Right. Okay. Great. Yeah. So under the slogan "Wanted Power Girls," Petkis got involved with Germany's Girls' Day, giving young women exciting insight into working, and I think Petkis has really taken this on as an important component. Can you talk a little bit about women in the seed industry and what your take is on that?
That's a very interesting topic, Shawn. First, as a result, I must say we are having more and more women in our organization from the top. Let's say our president of Petkis China is a lady. Let's say the chief technologist in Petkis Russia is a lady. So we have women in all kinds places of the hierarchy. And maybe if we would have more women, that's what we think, in all kinds of hierarchy, we would have lesser wars in the world.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Who knows? Anyway, to come back to your question, we put a lot of value to ladies. They have certain strengths, and that's in the seed industry, that's in any industry, I believe, where their way of handling things is beneficial. Of course, we have in different countries, we have different cultures. Let's take Russia for an example. And when we began coming back to Russia in 1994, there was a lot of very ambitious young female artists there, which did good progress, did good well for Petkis.
Absolutely. Right, that's great. A great initiative, and good for leading the seed industry. We could definitely take some lessons from that.
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Shawn.
Cheers.
Cheers.